on the Six Screens telenetwork, earning the reputation of giving all the right ingredients, uninhibited, in exposing the hard, cold facts about the Watchtower Society.
Well, how refreshing it is to see all of my good friends coming into our network tonight. Thank you for wanting to do that, and thank you for wanting to spend some time with us. Well, my name's Rick Farron. I am here at the control panel of the Six Screens of the Watchtower, right up here in Massachusetts. And I'm so glad that we really have so many people that like to come in and visit us every Saturday night. And if you're new here and you're just listening in, I want you to know how this all works. Well, what we do here is we expose one of the most dangerous, destructive organizations on the planet. That is the cult known as Jehovah's Witnesses, i.e., Watchtower. Now, maybe you're not familiar with the Watchtower. Maybe you're just kind of tuning in to see what this is all about. But there's many people that right now are leaving this tyrannical, controlling organization. And they have hurt so many people. And tonight's programs are going to be focusing on a major change that just took place yesterday in the Jehovah's Witness religion. As a matter of fact, it's being reported pretty much around the world in newspapers and even on some television programs. And they're talking about a change in their blood policy. Many Jehovah's Witnesses have died, actually died by refusing a blood transfusion. And now the Watchtower seems to be bending the rules a little bit, opening the gateway so people will be able to take one. But they're going very slow with it. They have to. I mean, because they really could get themselves in a lot of legal trouble. So we have Anne Marie. She's a former Jehovah's Witness. She's coming in from California. And Anne Marie, I believe you're there with us.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you, Anne Marie. You're right on the ball. Now, obviously, well, I mean, this is one of these events we all remember. I remember where I was when President Kennedy was shot. I remember where I was when the Twin Towers got hit by the airplanes. And I'll always remember where I was when I heard about this news about blood, Anne Marie. How about you?
I was in the shower going, what?
Well,
I was listening to Garrett Lowe act like, oh, gee, we need to clarify when it was a Watchtower strict law. Like we were stupid and didn't understand, and now the governing body feels the need to clarify their position because we were just too stupid to get it the first few times.
Well, I'll tell you, these guys, they do not do anything on the wing. It's all carefully thought out, Anne Marie. And I got the news. It was 2:00 in the morning. And my phone dings all night long because people send me news clips. And a nice lady from Canada says, Rick, have you heard about the big change? I couldn't believe it. I couldn't get back to sleep. I woke up and I started digging into this. I'm saying, you have got to be kidding me. I thought this would be one of the last things, Anne Marie, the Watchtower would touch. I figured, they'd allow for a lot more changes before they start playing around with their blood policy. Really, I thought that would be years down the road, maybe a couple of years. But to bring it out now, this is amazing.
Well, they're trying to keep everybody on their toes with the new light. One commenter said, I'm going to drop off a box of sunglasses to my local Kingdom Hall to help them see clearly the new light.
Well, that's a good thought. I mean, it's true. It's true. I mean, how much new light can you take? Now, I know you have a lot to say about it, and I'll be talking about it as well on JW World News tonight. We have a pretty good, in fact, a man that came up to our Still Alive in 2025 convention. I don't know if you remember him, Anne Marie. His name was John Vinney, and he was from the United Kingdom. And he was a big official on the liaison hospital committee on, coaxing the witnesses on not to take blood transfusions. So he's going to come on tonight and he's going to give his thoughts on it, my news program. So that'll be really fascinating as well. So I guess both of our programs tonight will focus on blood, and I'm sure we're going to have a lot of people. In fact, I've been getting emails from people saying, Rick, I'll be listening in. I want to hear what ex-Jehovah's Witnesses is saying about this. So, Anne Marie, you take the program away. I'm here if you need me.
Well, thank you so much, my brother. I'm looking forward to tonight's show as well. I'm sure everybody is like, what are they going to say? What are they going to say? I want to welcome everyone in, as always, to Six Screen Saturday. Today is March 21st, 2026. This show is touched by the tentacles of the Watchtower. And always, I want to welcome everyone, and I do mean everyone who's listening today or later in the archives on YouTube. Thank God it's going to be up there for hopefully forever. I want to welcome the PIMQs, those who are still physically in the Watchtower, but mentally questioning. They're still faithful, but they are troubled and they can't keep swallowing down those concerns and those questions. Want to welcome the PIMOs, those who are also still physically in the Watchtower, but mentally they are out. They've done the research, their eyes are open, they know and they see the Watchtower for exactly what it is, but they stay because they don't want to lose their wife, their husband, their children, their parents, their grandparents, and all their friends, hoping to help others to escape the mind control cult that has such hold of their brains. I want to welcome everyone to also feel free if anyone would like to hit *6 and say hello. As always, this is your show. Would anybody like to chime in? Floor is yours. Okay, if anybody doesn't want to comment right now, I just want to always make sure that everyone knows they are free to comment.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can. Wait one moment. Let's hear the brother first. Sister, don't go anywhere. Brother, what's on your mind and what's your name?
This is Junction Guy. I'm on vacation. I'm traveling up I-75. I hope the road noise isn't too loud for the speakerphone.
Oh, no, we can hear you so well. What's your name again, dear?
Junction Guy or Dave, either one.
Oh, Junction Guy. Oh, I haven't heard from you in a while. What's on your mind, my love?
Well, I was calling now. I may call later in his program, but I had a good experience with one of the JW carts down in Florida. I don't know if you want to have time to go into it now, but they were kind of in denial. I said, you know, it may be a rumor. And then this brother said, well, there's a lot of rumors about Jehovah's Witnesses. I said, but wait and see. I said, there is going to be a change in the blood policy. I already knew this because it was leaked on the internet. And the one woman said, well, we'll just see what they decide. And I'm like, they decide, you know, they can't even make up their own minds what they decide.
Well, they're trained not to make up their own mind. They're trained to allow the governing body to make up their mind. No independent thinking, only dependent thinking.
So that was my experience. And I saw several carts, some in Savannah, Georgia, but I didn't get a chance to stop. I was on a trolley tour and wasn't a convenient spot. And then we saw some in St. Augustine on the opposite side of the road, away from all the people. Everywhere they go, usually it's away from all the people. It's like this tucked away place, or you think they'd be out there right amongst all the people, but I think a lot of them just don't want to talk. Hope they go a whole day without anybody talking to them. That's my theory.
That does seem to be the case, Junction Guy. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we go to the other sister?
No, I just want to say hi, and then I'm listening, driving down the road, and I'm on my way back to Tennessee.
Oh, bless your heart. I am so happy that you called in. Now, just remember to drive safe while you're listening, okay?
All righty.
Great. Sister,
I'll put myself on mute.
Thank you. Sister, are you still there?
It's me, Emily, Susan.
Oh, my sister. Hi, Susan.
thank you for the card. That is so sweet. You're just such a fine rememberer of our wedding anniversary. So thank you. You remember better sometimes than we do. I wanted to mention. Can you imagine? And maybe that'll come up tonight. If someone that last week had a blood problem with the blood policy, and now they have a change. So last year it was wrong. Last week it was wrong, and this week it's right.
Isn't that the way it goes?
Oh, but doesn't that scare you a little bit? I mean, how can it be right one week and wrong the next week? Or vice versa. You can't. God doesn't flip like that. And if He does, He's not worth worshiping. And why would you even want to look at what the Bible has to say if it changes? Why would you read a book that changes?
Exactly. How about I tell you a story and tell you, honest to God, Susan, it's the truth. But next week, oh, I feel the need to clarify, and I give you a different story, and now that's the truth. Would you trust me?
No, not at all. In fact, things have changed along the way. This was a long time ago, but it was when they said, well, you can take this fraction, but not this fraction. On and on. You could barely follow. I mean, you need a doctor just to understand what was being said by the Watchtower. But now, this is the biggest change that they've had probably in 30 years.
Oh, no doubt. It's been, you know what's sad, a lot of people don't know or remember, Susan, is that during World War II, when so many of the brothers and sisters were suffering persecution, I think mostly because of Hitler, you know, they were like, Watchtower was like, oh, look what we're going through for staying faithful to Jehovah. They're staying faithful under torture and death. Well, after World War II was over, all of a sudden, I guess it was Crazy Freddy. That's what I've heard, and that's what I've read. He decided that blood transfusions, which up till then had been up to a Jehovah's Witness's own conscience, all of a sudden it was a law. It was going against God's law, and any Jehovah's Witness who decided to get a blood transfusion was going against God's law. And now it's a disfellowshipping offense. I mean, they needed something new to point to themselves as, oh, we're so faithful. Now we're being persecuted because we're obeying God's law. They were always looking for something to make themselves a martyr. Of course, not themselves. It was always a rank and file Jehovah's Witness. Ever notice that?
Well, think about it too, Anne Marie. Let's say, okay, they don't want you to take a blood transfusion, a full blood transfusion. They say that this week. Well, what about a year from now? What if they change? Why would I follow what they say if they're going to change again? Why would I?
You know what? Well, Susan, you're not supposed to run ahead of Jehovah's organization.
But again, it could change. Let's say they say, well, no blood transfusions. But then a week from now, they said, well, we'd like to further clarify what we just clarified. You can't trust what they say. And sure, if the light gets brighter and brighter, well, I don't want to wait while the light gets brighter while my child is sitting there dying because they need a blood transfusion.
It's so disgusting. It's so disgusting. Was there anything that you would like to add to that, Susan? And that is, you always bring out the best stuff. I love your take on things.
Well, I would love to hear what others have to say. I really would.
Oh, great. Would anybody else like to comment? I would like to read over my notes when I have time. First, it's the first show.
Hello, this is Grace.
Okay.
Comment.
Okay, I don't know who came on first. Who's first?
It's me who came on first. You know, it's nice and dandy.
Is your name
able.
What's your name, my love?
I keep it just like that, please.
Okay, what do we call you, dear?
Whatever whatever
Any
you
name
like.
you want.
Her name is
Okay.
Grace. Her name is Grace. Is who you're talking with?
Oh, Grace from Sweden? Oh, okay.
No, not Grace.
Oh, it's not.
So,
Okay, I'm sorry.
Anyhow, it's nice and dandy what you say to store your own blood. The most of the time, if you got an operation, you need more as 1 pint. So for some people, it doesn't work for some people. Like my
Yeah.
husband, he needed prostate operation, and there's always involved that you do need blood. That you need blood. And my husband, he had a heart operation and prostate, and he needed 5 units.
Oh, wow.
That's what he needed. So most of the time, you're able to store only 1 because it's only good for 42 days. So it's not feasible for a lot of people to
Exactly.
to store only 1. So they have to open it more.
Right. And plus it costs money to have your blood stored. A lot of money.
Yes, it does. Yeah. No, it does cost a lot of money. Yeah.
Oh. So your husband needed 5 units?
Yeah, 5
My
units.
God.
Good. He wasn't a witness into that time when he needed that. I wasn't a witness either. But afterwards I became a witness. And but I'm out completely out of that
I'm so
organization. They're so wicked. Yeah.
Oh,
I'm surrounded by witnesses, and when I run into them, some they say quick hi, but most of them they go by and they treat me as a criminal. Some of them.
Oh, honey.
Yeah, and it's a bad feeling. Yeah, that's
I'm
a wicked
sorry.
organization. Yeah.
I am
That's a
so
wicked-
sorry. Oh, honey, that's just so wrong. And you're not a criminal. You're a wonderful, loving woman. Oh, I'm so
Yeah,
sorry to
that's,
hear that.
that's no. If I would be in still a Jehovah Witness, I would talk to them. Yeah, and I wrote a letter. I don't like to be recognized as a Jehovah Witness anymore. So yeah, they disfellowship me because of that. Yeah.
I hear you on that one, hon, because you can't keep your mouth shut when you know the truth and you see people that are still so ignorant and so arrogant in their ignorance.
Yeah. It's a horrible organization. I don't like to belong in such a horrible organization. But it's my own fault. I became a Jehovah's Witness. My family warned me about it, but I did not listen to them. I should have listened to them. So, but I'm out now and I'm happy. You see, when you're Catholic or Protestant and you're either you don't like to be a member anymore, they don't disfellowship you. They talk to you. Yeah. And
that is so true.
Yeah, it's the only one Jehovah's Witness. Yeah, when you don't like to be a Jehovah's Witness, disown you.
Yeah, they're pretty brutal and unforgiving.
Yeah, but with the blood issue, they have to do something different. They have to be able to accept it from other people. Because most of the time, if you need operation, you need more transfusion of one.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Is there anything you'd like to add before we go to Grace?
No. Thank you, and I enjoy your program. You're doing a marvelous job. keep it up, and yeah, so I'm gonna listen and have a nice evening. And I'm listening like so later on too.
Oh, I'm so glad you're listening in, and thank you so much for calling in. And I didn't catch what you wanted me to call you, but it sounded like nice and dandy. So how about I call you nice and dandy? That sounds cute.
For
Okay.
you, it's the first time that I called in your show.
Oh, thank you. Well, I like to acknowledge all my callers. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you, my love.
Have a good evening. Thank you for that nice show. Okay,
Oh,
then,
thank
bye-bye.
you. Thank you for calling in, my dear. Grace, are you still there?
Yes, this is Grace from Sweden.
Well, hello. I've missed you.
Hello. So, yes, I wanted to say, she mentioned is the shelf life of 42 days. That's actually a maximum of days.
Oh, you can bring that?
And it's also
I'll be in a minute.
younger women between 18 and 25, they cannot donate blood as often as an older woman. She, a normal woman, she can donate blood every 61 days. And for men, that was wrong. Men can donate every 61 days and women every 91 days. That's what I was going to say. And also between 18 and 25, it's even more seldom for women. I guess it's because they have period and things. But the thing is, it makes it complicated. So you will only have like one unit for your operation, like she said. So that's a big problem. And I'm also considering, even if you're in a rich country like United States, what if your insurance doesn't cover it? Most Jehovah's Witnesses are poor, so how can they afford to pay for it? And like in Sweden, we have like almost free health care. So, and when I had my operation, I'm sure because it was a planned operation, they would have been able to store blood for me and I wouldn't have to risk my life. And now all of a sudden, if it had happened today, I would be able to store blood and then I wouldn't have to risk my life. So it's just really upsetting for me on a personal note because I feel like it's premeditated, it's intentional. And actually, they know it's wrong. The governing body know that it's not in the Bible altogether with blood transfusion. That was one of his, Garrett Law's arguments, that no, it's not in the Bible if you donate blood to yourself. But it's not in the it's not in the Bible altogether about donating blood. So it's just a stupid argument. And then they say, he said, we're not under the Mosaic law, Christians. Well, we weren't before either. So that's also a bad argument. I mean, all the arguments they come up with, it doesn't make sense. So in that respect, I watched Lloyd Evans' show, and he had lots of good arguments, I feel, even though I don't agree with him as a person. So was interested in listening to him. And but anyway, this is only for rich countries. What about the poor countries? They will not be able to benefit from this at all. And I'm just really upset. I got lots of anxiety. I've been thinking about how they put my life on the line for what? And now they changed it. So I'm just really upset. I got anxiety. I don't get that at all. I don't know what's wrong with me. I've been feeling really bad. And so there was something else I was thinking about. I forgot what it was. I can barely keep it together. Are you still there, Anne Marie?
And Marie.
Well, this is Rick Farron here. I'll fill in for Anne Marie. I'm not sure what happened with her, but she'll be back here, I'm sure, in a few minutes. Yeah, in fact, well, thank you, Grace. Well, you have every reason in the world to be upset, and a lot of people are right now. Thank you, Grace, for dialing in. David Wexler, go ahead.
Okay, let's go back to the beginning a little bit. In 1989, when I went to Ringo, Pennsylvania, Mr. and Mr. Setnar sat down and talked to me. And they talked to me about this blood transfusion stuff. And then they give me the Witness of Jehovah video. And then I watched it. I did not know what to think or do at that time. Now, going forward and having my own surgery, and I'm not a Jehovah Witness, I had to have 7 pints of blood pumped into me because I lost 7 pints of blood inside my body because I was in a serious car accident. And then after I got out of that car accident, people wouldn't touch me, shake my hand, or anything. And then on top of that, I watched the witnesses tell me that I was unholy to touch or be around. And I'm not a witness, okay? And then when all that videotape and everything came out and got put into the public libraries like I did, I put it in 30 different libraries in the state of Virginia. And a lot of people understood what happened in the state of Virginia. And they used that video to the best of their ability in the show witnesses. Now I see that all the things my wife had to go through and all the worry I had to go through when she had her own problems and she couldn't have blood if she had to have an operation. It put me at risk of being always upset, always stressed out, and never knowing that if she had the operation, she could die on that operating table just because she couldn't take blood. And to be upset and angry like that most of the time when had to have something happen, the Watchtower does not care about your feelings or anybody else's feelings, and they should be held accountable for this, for putting the distress and problems on their American people and other people around the world. There should be some kind of conversation over this. That's what I'm saying.
Well, David, you're not the only one upset. A lot of people are really ticked off. And, for them to approach you, and I mean, you're not even one of Jehovah's Witnesses. Well, what business do they have saying that you're unclean because you took a blood transfusion? I mean, is that really something that is loving to say to someone? I mean, that's ridiculous, David.
Yeah, it was. And I'm married to a Jehovah's Witness, but the point of it is they said that to try to get under my skin and try to put a wedge between two people.
Unreal.
I'm so sorry you went through that.
No, you don't have to be sorry. That's what God put me. That's what God put me on this earth for, to show my wife that I'm stronger than an organization, and I face what God gives me, and I head on, and I don't have to back down, and I don't have to back up, and I can stand on my own 2 feet.
There you go. You do it well.
I just want to say, I feel the pain the witnesses give out. So have a nice day. I'll sit back and listen.
Oh, thank you for chiming in, David. Thank you so much. Would anybody else like to, would anybody else like to chime in and have a comment or share something if it's not too long? Feel free to hit *6. This is your show. If I could get into my notes, I'd really love to do that. And I hope you guys would be patient with me. And if you need to jump in, feel free. Watchtower has long taught that blood transfusions, the taking in of blood, is against God's law. It was black and white, clear as could be, and everybody knew it. The Watchtower has been very strict about this. It was a core teaching. It's been a core teaching for many years with no exceptions. Even the storing of your own blood. Nope. Once it leaves the body, it's supposed to be tossed out. Can't go back in the body. So allowing your wife or your child to bleed to death in obedience to God's law was something that happened within the ranks of the faithful Jehovah's Witnesses for decades. The Watchtower even established a hospital liaison committee, usually a committee of 3 specially trained elders who would go to the hospital specifically to be sure that the Jehovah's Witness who needed blood, who's bleeding to death, would indeed bleed to death in faithfulness to Jehovah's law. Now, one concerned person who was not a Jehovah's Witness asked one of the Jehovah's Witnesses on the liaison committee that about the witness that needed blood, like what would happen if this Jehovah's Witness would maybe take a blood transfusion? Would they be disfellowshipped if they gave in because they wanted to leave? Would they be disfellowshipped if they got a blood transfusion in order to survive? Or if a Jehovah's Witness parent or husband gave consent for a blood transfusion for their unconscious dying child or wife? And the elder told the person asking if they'd be disfellowshipped, you know what his answer was? Well, we wouldn't disfellowship the Jehovah's Witness who took blood, or the parent or spouse who agreed to a blood transfusion. They would be disfellowshipping themselves. That elder said that. They would be disfellowshipping themselves. Isn't it smooth how the governing body is so smooth about putting all the responsibility for obeying what is essentially Watchtower law? It puts all the responsibility on the Jehovah's Witness. Well, we did disfellowship that, they disfellowship themselves. Now, the Watchtower did ease up on their hospital liaison committee a little bit, making sure that a Jehovah's Witness stayed faithful on their no blood policy. Now, I believe it was yesterday, I think, March 20th, 2026, governing body, we all know, governing body Garrett Loesch. He's the one that said that they're not inspired. The governing body is not inspired, but yet they know more than the early Christians. Yeah, right. Garrett Loesch announced that Jehovah's Witnesses are now allowed to have their own blood stored for future use in a planned surgery or procedure, a practice formerly that was considered to be also against God's law. Now, this was for like the last 75 years. And I was really amazed that he said, Garrett Loesch said, and I quote, "Therefore, after much prayer and consideration of the scriptures, the governing body has decided to clarify our position of a patient's own blood," and ... ellipsis. You know, it blows my mind. First, he says, after much prayer and consideration of the scriptures. Well, what the heck have they been doing all these last 75 years? And then he says, we decided, you didn't feel the need to, you decided to clarify their position. Clarify? Are we so stupid that we don't get it? Who's this? Go ahead, dear. I hear somebody wants to talk. I thought I heard someone say hello. Anybody wants to comment, you just go right ahead. But this just really makes me mad. You know, Rick has brought out so many times how the governing body uses words very carefully. You know, they don't want to get mud on themselves, so they kind of skirt around the issue, saying what they're saying, but they don't actually say what they're saying. And they always make themselves look so innocent, like their hands are washed, so clean. And we're the ones that didn't get it. We're the ones that need clarifying because we're so stupid we didn't understand it the first time. Like they always taught that it was okay to store our own blood. And just as an example, there was a little 10-year-old girl, I think she was about 10. I remember seeing the picture of her in her hospital bed. She had dark hair. She had to have surgery. Is someone wanting to talk?
Well, Maria, I hope this, what I'm going to say hasn't been covered earlier in your program. I just came in.
Hi, Dick. How are you?
I'm just terrific. Yeah, we're doing great here. Everything's wonderful. You know, it's on the blood card that all of us witnesses carried at one time, that we would not take blood and nor would we allow ourselves to have our blood stored. I think stored blood is only good for 6 or 7 weeks, really. So, but it would be immensely popular right now for Jehovah's Witnesses if they were having like open heart surgery or a complicated pregnancy, something like that. It would be a really good idea to store a couple of pints of blood. But what Jared, what's his name? No.
Loach. Garrett Loach.
Garrett Loach, that's what I'm looking for. Yeah. What he does, what he's saying, what a fraud. He's saying, we just want to clarify things. No, he's not clarifying anything. They're doing a complete reversal and doctrine, and they just hoping you're not smart enough to pick up on it. Thank you, Emery.
Oh, Dick, isn't that the truth? Right on the money. Yeah, who's this?
Hi, this is Stephen. I just wanted to say hi to you, and I also wanted to say hi to Dick before he got off, and his wife. Emery, you know, me and you, we see eye to eye on so many things. I'm mad as hell, and I know you are too. And maybe we should leave, but I am so damn upset. I just can't even. I really can't even put it into words. I could spend hours on this topic. There was a sister that I had met because the one gentleman I told you about that was disfellowship for 18 years.
Oh,
I thought they were kind of dating, and he used to bring her over to my house. And this is not that long ago. This is right before I woke up. And she decided to go in and have a breast reduction surgery. And I just thought to myself, what in the world? That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And I was thinking to myself, why would a Jehovah's Witness go have a breast reduction surgery? Because if anything goes amiss, you can't take blood. That could cost you your life. Well, guess what? She went in right around the July 4th holiday. And the doctor nicked something or hit something. By the time she returned a couple of days later, because she was feeling so terrible, and they found out that he had nicked something and she had been bleeding internally since the surgery. And basically, she bled out and died in the doctor's office. And she left behind her aged parents, who are Jehovah's Witnesses, 2 or 3 siblings, all Jehovah's Witnesses, married with kids, a host of nieces and nephews. She herself had 3 kids, they're all grown, and one of them was just about to get married. I think one that's already married was just about to have a child. So the point that I'm making is she left behind all of this, all over this stupid blood policy, and I was mad at him. In fact, that kind of ended our friendship because she only got that stupid surgery because of him, and he didn't really care for her romantically in the first place. I'm like, so you cost this girl her life, you and this stupid effing religion. And I haven't talked to him since, and I don't think I need to because I think we'll literally start fighting. I'm so angry. But in any event, I tell you, this makes me so mad. How many people have died listen to this damn organization. And you know, it doesn't even bother me what the governing body do, because I think they're all a bunch of idiots, and anybody that's on this program thinks that they're idiots. I think that people are so stupid that they allow themselves to be led and directed by others. Why the hell don't you think for yourself? Why don't you think for yourself and make decisions for yourself? Why? And these people are so brainwashed, they just cannot do it. And I'll just say two things quickly. I have two daughters. They're 19, 20, 21, somewhere up in that area. And they, when they were born, and I carried them little girls in my arms, and I carried them everywhere I went. You wouldn't even know they had a mom. They were always with me. I carried them everywhere. I did everything I could with them. And I knew even way back when, and I was fully teeny. I have to go through the acronyms. I was fully teeny. But there was no way in hell I would have let my kids die if a blood transfusion may have extended their life. There's no way in hell. And I don't care who said what, it would not, even their mom, it would not have mattered to me. As a doctor, you're going to do everything in your power to save my little girl in this hospital. And if you don't, you're going to be in this hospital. That's just how I felt about it. I cannot imagine how these people feel now that they realize they let their kids die. They themselves have died, all because they keep listening to this organization. When are you people going to wake up and think for yourself? The Bible does not and never did say anything about blood transfusions and medical treatments 2,000 years in the future. But you just can't, these people are so brainwashed, you just cannot reach them with anything. And they're all going to just see this as another blessing from Jehovah. Oh, isn't this great? And never put together why all of a sudden, after all these years, after all these people died, how they celebrated by putting those babies on the cover of Battle Weight magazine. Why all of a sudden is this little bone that they're throwing? Why are they doing it? Why are they doing it at all? And why now? But they'll never see it. They'll never get it. Thanks, Anne-Marie.
That is so well put.
Yourself.
Thank you.
Hi.
Who's this?
How you doing? No problem. Thank you.
I'm sorry. Who's talking?
He's on the same page I am.
I bet he is.
Me and him need to talk.
Okay, well, you guys going to arrange it because time is wasted. Anybody want to talk besides ones who have already spoken? Want to give everybody a chance, and thank you for that chiming in, David. Hi, who's this?
It's Pixie.
Hey, Pixie, my girl, how are you?
I'm doing fine on cloud 9. It's the first day of spring.
I forgot it. Thank you.
I went through this with my mom, and I have medical power of attorney for her. And I have to say that when those elders were there that I knew very well, they were around her hospital bed, pushing the paper and a pen in her 100-year-old little face and in my face. And I took my medical power of attorney that supersedes that blood card, and I put it on the nurse's desk, and I said, get them out of here. I need a meeting with the anesthesiologist. The man shook my hand. I had a 5-minute meeting. I said, I can't tell you how to do your job. If she doesn't need a blood transfusion in tomorrow's surgery, don't do it. If she does, you know how to give the gold standard of medicine here, not me. And when I went back to that room, those elders had disappeared. And my mother lived more years after that, for which I was very happy. My dad, who had been a Bible student and was a wonderful Jehovah's Witness in positions of authority, he never went with the blood policy. He had to have a 12-hour surgery of some sort. And he came back and he said, what's between me and my doctor is between me and my doctor. Now, if they ask you if you took the blood, say yes. If they ask you if it's your own blood, yes, because they'll bill you for it. I mean, this is the most, you bought it. This is the craziest thing they've ever done. And I made the joke there, but it's not a laughing matter. I've lost 2 witness friends that were dear to me over this. We had a brother on the stage at one of the conventions that wept. I guess it was his last day as a witness. he told about a pregnant woman dying from the podium. He told it. He was there, and he told the story, and he walked off the stage. So this is a dangerous policy. Even if they change it, it's not good enough. And I feel like a black person that the Kingdom Hall, I was in the wrong classroom. And that's all I'm going to say tonight. And I'll chat with them at the end. We'll have a
And, you know, the temerity to stand up to those, you know who's, and did right by your mom, and thank God for your dad. I like that. What's between me and my doctor? Good. I just wanted to continue with that.
I just wanted to add something to what I said. They haven't changed anything in the books. So if you have a Bible study, enjoy life forever, it's not they haven't changed anything. And they haven't even made a little pamphlet. And the blood donation cards that everybody have in their wallet, it isn't changed either. So
that, dear?
Okay. In fact, I just did. We had the internet go down, but we got it back up now, so we should be all right. Yep.
Well, that's a good thing. Thank you.
Hi, Anne Marie.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Craig from Florida.
Hi, Craig. What's on your mind?
15 minutes ago, I was talking to the court witnesses in Florida, and I approached them. I said, hey, did you hear about the big change in your religion? They go, yeah. So I said, when I watched it, I said, I noticed that there was no apology for the people that lost loved ones. I said, how do you justify that? She goes, what's your point? I says, my point is,
for God's sake, what's your point?
this is verbatim, I'm not making this up. And she says, what about people in the military? Do they get apologies? I said, we're not talking military. I said, I don't support warfare. I said, I'm talking about a religion where family members were lost, and don't you feel for them? She goes, do you know any witnesses that lost their lives because of blood? I said, yes, I do. And I said, I don't know if saving her own blood would have saved her life or not, but undoubtedly there are many it would have. How do you justify that? Don't you have any feelings? But no matter what you say, the other sister goes, she goes, well, Jehovah knows the situation. Jehovah knows them. No matter, they're just ignorant. No matter what you say or line of reasoning, they're just blinded, willfully blinded, ignorant.
It's a sad thing to see,
It is.
isn't it, Mark? I mean,
It
Craig,
is.
I'm sorry. Oh, my God. They just don't seem to have the ability to reason like a normal person. They're only allowed to, quote unquote, reason within the confines of their indoctrination.
Yes, I told them also the analogy. I said at one time even organ transplants were viewed as cannibalism. How about those people that lost their lives? I said, you tell me, understand that you believe in the Bible, but I see it takes an executive board. I don't use the word governing body because I don't want them to know I was an ex-witness, because then the conversation just shuts down. But I said, it takes an executive board to make your rules. How can that be too light?
Oh, you know what? They never seem to hear you. They just want you to go away because you're just Satan. You're just being used by Satan to try to confuse them. That's the way they're trained. Their programming is deep and wide.
I don't mean to go off topic tonight, but I wanted to share one of the best books I ever read in my life. And it was, it's written by Beth Ledger, her husband John, and her. She has Stop the Shunning, and John Ledger does the channel XJW Analyzer. She wrote a book. She wrote a book. It was released in March, and I have like 10 pages left. I'm a big fan of Ray Franz, but Beth Ledger's book, was a witness. It's called Burning Down the House. It's available on Amazon. It's fantastic. And it's about growing up and leaving the organization and having toxic parents or relatives. How to deal with it.
Sounds good.
That's just a shout out for any listeners or whatever. Burning Down the House by Beth Ledger, Leger.
All right.
Anyway,
thank you so much.
Have a great night. Bye-bye.
Well, thank you. And you as well, Craig. Okay. Craig recommends the book, Burning Down the House, coming out of the Watchtower. Sounds like a really good book. Okay. Would anybody else like to comment? I would like to get back to my notes, but you guys come first. This is your show. Anybody like to comment? Okay, I just wanted to reiterate that Watchtower's policy on blood or receiving a blood transfusion continues to stand. A Jehovah's Witness must still face bleeding to death purely in faithfulness and in obedience to the Watchtower's ban on blood, which they call God's love. Any blood transfusion in an emergency, which is usually a case when a Jehovah's Witness desperately needs blood, is not going to be helped by their
new, what do they call it, clarification on how they now allow a witness to store their blood. So, I'm feeling like the governing body is slowly turning, like they're turning their Watchtower boat from their insanely strict stand on their blood policy to a gradual relaxing of their stand in kind of like small, imperceptible increments, like they're trying to make everything new to the point where, oh, we just want to clarify, the matter of getting a blood transfusion is actually a matter of personal conscience. It's everybody's personal decision. And sooner or later, the average rank and file Heaney will eventually say, well, it's always been a matter of conscience. It's always been a conscience matter. Just like they say that 1975 never happened. Anybody think of that? Remember that it was in 1945, I'm pretty sure, don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure I read that it was in 1945 that getting a blood transfusion now became a harsh Watchtower law, resulting in being disfellowshipped if you had a blood transfusion. Now, before 1985, it had always been a matter of an individual Jehovah's Witness conscience. So more and more, I'm hearing the governing body members say things like, the governing body has decided, like before they say this or before they change that or announce a new understanding, they don't say, Jehovah has helped us see, or through careful studies of the scriptures. It's almost always the governing body has decided. Like more and more, they're becoming God, our top authority over the Bible, over our conscience, over Jesus, and over Jehovah. The governing body has decided. If the governing body decided, as one person brought out, that now you have to wear one green sock on one foot and a red sock on the other, then you'd have to do it. Because whatever change they're announcing to the rank and file being preceded by the governing body has decided, you just have to do it. Because if you don't keep in step with the governing body, you're in trouble, honey. Why can't Jehovah's Witnesses just use their own conscience? It's like Pixie brought out the scripture at the bottom of the no blood card. God, I can't wait for Pixie to tell us what that scripture is, because it's exactly what she said. That scripture has nothing to do with any kind of law on blood according to God, and it has nothing to do with helping you to stay strong to obey it. It basically says in the last sentence, you're an idiot if you obey that stupid Watchtower law. Okay, I went through my notes. The floor is open for any one of my callers. Anyone want to share? Hit *6. The floor is yours, and I am listening.
Okay, just a quick thing I wanted to say, that before Raymond Franz even wrote his book, this is in Crisis of Conscience by Raymond Franz. The governing body had a meeting about, they knew all back then it was wrong, this blood transfusion business. But they took a vote, and they didn't agree to remove it. And the reason was they were afraid to get sued for a lot of money. So this is all about the money and not about the poor people's lives and all the children. That's all from me. Thank you.
Well, Grace, of course, and a lot of people over the years have brought it up too, that even though they know it's wrong, they know they can't ever change it, but it looks like they are slowly changing it. I mean, look how far they've come in their changes. But yeah, if they ever just came right out and said, sorry, folks, we made a mistake. We thought it was a real law from God not to have a blood transfusion, but we realized from reading the scriptures that it's actually not a scriptural condemnation or law or anything against God to have a blood transfusion, because blood is meant to save life. Blood being used for the very purpose it was, invented for, that God made it for is not going against God's law. In fact, it's actually showing respect for life, for using blood for the very purpose God created it. To allow somebody to die and bleed to death unnecessarily because they say that basically blood is more sacred than the life that it's supposed to sustain. It's crazy, but if they ever said that, I think every single Jehovah's Witness would just, like you said, they'd be sued. They'd probably walk away. Yeah, they can't afford that.
Hey, Anne-Marie. Hello?
Yeah. Who's this? I got two people. Who's this?
Hi, this is Hitley from New York City. How you doing? I just wanted to say that.
What's your name? What's your name?
This is Hitley.
Oh,
Hitley from New York. Hi.
oh, I miss you.
I'm good. Thank you. How are you?
Missing you and happy to hear your voice. You want to know? I have been wondering about you. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, dear.
Oh, that's okay. You know, I've been wondering about everyone else, and I'm glad that you have this as your which in a way can't be helped as a topic, you know, for conversation. No pun intended. For the you know, for your show. I just wanted to say that wasn't there a quack? I don't know if you heard from long time ago, around the time that I think it was Rutherford or what have you, that they use a quack expert to try to support their the reason why they you know, went on that blood transfusion brigade or, you know, decision to make it seem like, oh well, we have a medical professional to give all this information as to why blood transfusions are wrong and blah 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 and everything. I'm just wondering, you know, because I think I remember reading in some other, I don't know if it was the JW Facts or XJW Facts or maybe on the discussion forum that someone mentioned about it, that they use some quack experts. That's all I wanted to say.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised. It's hard to remember where we read or heard something, but we know because our brain just kind of holds on to those little important details. But it's probably absolutely true because it sure does make sense. They are known to misquote people that are supposedly experts, and they're even known to quote people that aren't experts as if they were experts.
Okay.
Hello.
Well, thank you then.
Well, thank you, Hidley, and please don't be a stranger.
Hi there.
Hi, what's your name?
My name's Alex.
I'm sorry?
My name is Alex from LA.
Alex, how are you?
Well, I'm doing well. First time I ever call.
Well, Alex, welcome to the Six Screens family. You have the floor. What's on your mind?
Well, thank you. Well, there's so many things on my mind. I don't even know where to begin, but I just got to say it's disgusting the way they present things. All my life, from childhood, I started believing wholeheartedly that the truth was amongst this man. They were God-given man to humanity, if you will. To come and find out later on in life that it's all a bunch of lies. And this is about the blood. If people don't really wake up to this, I don't know what will. I don't know what will make them change their minds. I left about 10 years ago. I lost my family due to that. No longer my kids don't ever speak to me again.
Oh, no.
But it is what it is. But I'm not going to subjugate myself to simple stupidity made up by man. They just shoot from the hip. They absolutely have no scholars amongst themselves. They themselves don't know what the heck they're talking about because they're actually ruled by, I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, but they're ruled by actual Jews that own the Watchtower Society. And they're just basically a face to put out there so that millions and millions of people come and put their $9 per person per capita every time we have those conventions. So I used to go to those conventions. It's horrible, but
I'm glad little by little things are coming out, and hopefully this thing will be dissolved soon. That's all I have to say.
Well, Alex, we really appreciate your calling in and giving us your take and your experience. It's sad because when we were all really faithful believers in what we were told was God's organization, the truth, and to find out later that we had been lied to, that our faith and our desire to serve God had been betrayed and used and abused and manipulated to basically slave for this organization. It's worse than being hit in the gut. And then they punish you for waking up to the truth about the truth. And you've lost your children. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I mean, imagine, I came into their realm, if you will, because I'm not going to call it the truth because it's not. When I was 19 years of age, I wanted to be a neurosurgeon. I had a scholarship to go to UCLA, and I left that behind just to be a regular pioneer.
Oh, honey. Oh, honey.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Can you imagine? I mean, it's just horrible. I mean, I remember a case about 7 years ago in the LA area. I'm not going to say the city itself, but it was beautiful sisters, twins. One of them had leukemia. And I remember her words. I said, why don't you seek alternative remedies to your problem? And she says, no, because if I touch the blood issue, I'm going to be disloyal to Jehovah. Can you imagine what the surviving sister might be thinking right now?
Oh, I can't.
It's horrendous. And I can go on and on for days with all the stories that I know of people that have suffered. And the worst part of it all is when we make mistakes, it's human to err, but we must apologize. Where's this nonchalant attitude of I'm not going to apologize because it's not needed? Even God himself apologizes. Who are these people not to do so? So
they're wicked people.
Great point. That's exactly what they are. So if he himself, the Almighty God, is humble enough to say, I'm sorry. Who are these guys who have that holier than thou attitude?
Good point, my brother. Oh my goodness. There are so many stories, and it's so sad that, like you said, the governing body never says we were wrong. We're sorry. We're sorry for any trauma that we have caused from our false policies.
Exactly. All this gaslighting going on, instead of saying, we were wrong. Oh, no, we have new light. What do you mean you have new light? What happened to the old light? So this light is brighter. This light is going to light up the room better. No. If it's right, it's right. If it's wrong, it's wrong. Just admit it.
What's sad
why do you think that they made this change now? What is this? March of 2020. People have been dying from this blood policy for forever. Why all of a sudden, and what seems to all of us to be in such haste, do you think they made this reversal?
Well, do you want my opinion?
Yes, sir.
Well, basically, I've been following through about what's going on in all these cases in Europe, where they're about to lose their religious, quote unquote, freedom, or the freedom to practice their ways. They are going to lose millions of dollars, and because of that, it's all political. And because they want to be, they don't want to be seen as they are a problematic cult, they come out and say, look, we are not so bad. Look, we're making changes slowly but surely. We're making all these changes so that we can be looked upon as if we were a real religion when they're not. But the only reason, and if you look at from any angle you can look from, the only reason why they're doing it is because they want to maintain their rights to practice their religion their religion as they do now in certain countries of Europe. I'm not going to mention them, but I think the audience knows which countries I'm speaking of.
Sure. I think you're right. Because when I heard this announcement, I think I listened to Lloyd Evans' video, and he was the first person that I saw that mentioned it. And I asked myself that question about the blood card. If the blood card that these witnesses are carrying right now still has that verbiage about not taking blood, even if it's, removed and pumped back into your own body, that means that they made this decision even before updating those blood cards and handing that out. And that really shows that they were under the gun to get this out there, because you would think if they had half a brain, just half a brain, then they would have updated the blood card first and then made the announcement and then handed out the updated blood card. Because how would you say that this is a clarification when the blood card that you have right in your purse or wallet says you can't accept blood even if it's your own blood, essentially pumped back into your body? And so that just made me wonder the timing. Why all of a sudden in such haste would you go out and make this reversal? It's not a correction. This is a full 180-degree reversal. Why the timing? Why now? And that's
exactly what it is. It's exactly what it is. It's a reversal. It's not clarification as he puts it out there, Loesch. No, it's not a clarification. No, it's a reversal. Why? Because it's a political, because the politics involved, they are coming down, the hammer is coming down hard on them. So they want to seem in the eyes of political parties as if they're not as dangerous as they seem to be.
And it's just so sad to see that they care more about money and more about profit than they do about their own organization, the members. Because, as I said, people have been dying for forever. They've known about how horrendous this policy is since forever. And they could care less. Never made a change. But now, all of a sudden, their money is threatened. Now, all of a sudden, they can change. So they're just like every other worldly organization, what we would call worldly organization, that puts profit over people. And that's the part that's just so hurtful.
Allow me to make a little point in which you stated. This is profitable because it's a business disguised as a religion.
Correct.
The moment that people realize that fact, that's when your eyes get opened.
Mm-hmm.
Until people don't realize that this is a corporate America business, making business as a religion, people will not open their eyes.
I agree. It's just so sad.
As sad as it is,
just like Anne-Marie just said,
yeah,
and you just said, there's no way that we should read. They used to talk about I think it was called permafrost all the time. Mm-hmm. You talk to people, you can't get through to them. It's really the witnesses that are encased in permafrost. It's just nothing you say to them.
Yeah.
Makes any
have
difference.
You guys?
My ex-wife.
Have you ever seen the movie The Village?
I don't believe so.
If anybody's ever seen the movie The Village, I recommend it. Watch it. And then you're going to say, oh my goodness, this is exactly like the organization of Jehovah's Witnesses works. It's based on fear. In this world, there are two emotions that we humans respond to. One is love, the other one's fear.
Mm. Got it.
So if you watch that movie, go ahead.
Brother, I'm going to go back on hold. I really enjoyed your point, and please call in the future.
Will do. Thank you so much.
Thank you for calling in. What scares me the most, again, is the way Garrett Loesch said that the governing body has decided to clarify their position, as it, that sends a subliminal message that
they've always had this position, but Jehovah's Witnesses were just ignorantly thinking that they weren't allowed to store their own blood. Instead of saying, we changed our mind, or after prayer for consideration, we feel the need to explain that according to the Bible, we don't feel it's wrong or whatever, but to say we feel that we've decided to clarify, like we're done with you guys being so stupid. Again, it's always put on the rank and file the responsibility of the consequences of obeying their quote unquote laws. Their laws, which they say are from God. It's like they blame Jehovah for everything. And then when you suffer from it, well, you shouldn't do this, or you had your own mind, or you could choose that, or it's up to your conscience, or you disfellowship yourself. Or like when we believe the hype about the 1975 Armageddon prophecy from 1966 onward, well, you shouldn't be serving Jehovah according to a certain date. Or, you know, you shouldn't be running your life according to a certain date. Like, it's on you if you were stupid enough to believe it. It's the way they are. They don't take responsibility. They teach. Of course you can. What's your name, love?
It's Nicole. It's Nicole.
Hi, Nicole. What's up?
Hi. Okay, so I'm on my way to the hospital now because yesterday, my husband hasn't been well for about 15 days or so. He's been having a lot of stomach pains and he's been throwing up and so on. So I took him to the hospital yesterday. They did a CT scan on him. They did 2 CT scans on him, and they found a malignant mass in his bowels. So a treatment plan is going to be given to him. So I'm on my way there now. But the first thing my husband, because he's still in, he's me, I guess. The first thing that he says is, oh my God, I need to call the elders. I need to call the elders as soon as possible. But I knew about the pre-release or the you know, with Loesch and what he said about now you can store your own blood and use your own blood. So I said to him, my husband, I said, well, now you can store your blood and you can use your blood, you know, for the surgery that you know you would soon have or eventually have. And my husband totally agreed. This is such a good thing. It's such a good thing. I can see the point in saying that. I can see the point in they clarifying it. So it's really, really sad that people will continue to look at this religion as a religion and not as a business. Because just as the previous caller said, this is a business that is masquerading as a religion. And until people realize that this is what it is, they will continue to be asleep. Just as my husband will continue to be asleep. That's all I have to say.
Oh, Nicole, that must be so hard for you. It's like these rank and file hemies, these physically in, mentally in, they are so indoctrinated and so programmed to stay within their Watchtower fantasy bubble that whatever the governing body says, that's the truth, and we're obeying Jehovah and we're following Jehovah's arrangement. And it's like an excuse for everything and anything, even though Hebrews 5:14 admonishes all of us to have our perceptive powers trained through use. You can't have your perceptive powers trained through use to be able to distinguish between good and bad, evil and truth, or whatever, unless you use the brain that God gave you. But we know that Watchtower warns against independent thinking. The Watchtower's already done your thinking for you. Remember who the first independent thinker was? That was Satan. You don't want to be like Satan, do you? I mean, they're so manipulative.
Yeah, hello, Anne-Marie.
Yeah, who's this?
This is Ken from Michigan. How you doing?
Oh, Ken, I didn't recognize you. How are you?
Well, you really want to know, and not very good here with the snowstorm we had over here and this bad weather. So, but it's kind of subsiding right now. But we really got hammered here a few last weekend here, and it was really something. So, well, I was listening to the program with interest. Glad I got on. Glad that you brought up the one subject about the last scripture on the blood card. Were you looking for Leviticus 17:14? You must not eat blood.
No, Pixie, thank you for that. Pixie brought out, I don't know if it was last week or a few days ago, or I was listening to her on a recorded show, but Pixie brought out that the scripture at the bottom of the no blood card that witnesses are supposed to carry, she said it's interesting that that scripture that's on the blood card has absolutely nothing to do with obeying, quote unquote, God's law on blood. And she read the scripture to show that it has nothing to do with the blood doctrine. But the very last sentence, or the last part of the last sentence, basically denotes the idea that you're an idiot, a fool, if you obey this no blood doctrine.
Well, yeah, I guess you absolutely are if you obey that, because for one thing, it does not say anything about blood transfusions in the Jewish Torah or the Roman Church writings. It does not prohibit having blood transfusions. They didn't even have them back then, not to my knowledge. And that's number one. That's one issue there. It says in there that you can't consume the blood, like the one I just gave you there, but you can't consume the blood. You have to drain that out, but you can eat the flesh, whatever it is. And that's what that brings out. But here's another thing too. They are putting themselves above the law of the land. They're putting themselves above the U.S. Constitution and so forth. And they're putting themselves up above the law of medical expertise. They don't have any business deciding, your medical treatment whatsoever. They've got no business whatsoever. And just think, every case that the state has brought against them on blood transfusions, especially amongst children, the state won and they lost in their refusal. Because for one thing, it does not say that. They're just, they're just tyrannical and dictatorial and all that. And they're changing the rules. By whose authority that they have to make those rules in the first place?
Good point.
It wasn't no higher power, no God or anything like that give them that authority. Who is it that may give them that authority in the first place?
Exactly.
And who is it and why is it that, they've been going around the country so long and around the world and everything like that and getting away with it and so forth. If you and I did something like that, we'd be in jail right now.
Yeah, probably. You're so
if you
right.
and I went on the hospital and all that, and rant and raved and tried to stop a blood transfusion, and the person died. Guess what? We'd be brought up on charges. We'd probably go to jail.
Yeah. Wow, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Is there anything else you'd like to add to that, Ken?
No, I will keep listening and so forth, and nice talking to you again. And you have a good, I'm probably going to sign off now. You just have a good evening, and we'll see you around news time.
Oh, well, thank you. And I wish you well. Do your best to keep warm. I'm sorry you're going through all that snow and cold. Aw.
Hello, Anne-Marie.
Anybody? Hi, who's this? Hi, who's this?
Constance. Hi, honey, it's Constance. Hi, Anne-Marie.
I missed you. Yes, I was just thinking I miss you, and I still don't have your phone number for you or Dick.
Okay, honey, well, we'll take care of that. We will.
I hope
we
so.
have a huge storm here, so I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me okay? We've got lightning and thunder and rain.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
No, I hear you. I hear you.
But it just hit. Okay, honey, what I wanted to say is, we're both enjoying your show very much. I just wanted to bring this out to the audience tonight, Anne-Marie.
John Ledger, you know, ex-JW Analyzer has, I said to Rich, it has got to be, I mean, his videos, his YouTube channel is incredible. But this video that he did 3 days ago, I think just knocked it out of the park. And it's entitled, Who is Running Watchtower? And I would really recommend everybody to watch it on YouTube, because does he break it down? And because it applies to this topic of the blood issue. At one time, the governing body members used to control everything. And you know, John, he does this research. He does this research like an attorney. I mean, he's really incredible. And he said around the year 2000, things started to change. He said the governing body members, they're involved in the preaching, the teaching, the Bethel service, and the ministry. But then you have these three men, and I'll list them. Philip Lofts, Lofts. You have this other guy, it has to be a Greek name, Vasilios Pappas, P as in Paul, Appas. And then you have another guy named Tobias Browelett, and I'll spell it. It's B like Barbara, Roweleit. And these guys are the heavy hitters when it comes to making the decisions on Watchtower's financial decisions. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the asset management. I'm talking about risk management funds. With regards to the $7 billion that's over there in Ireland, these are the men that are involved in all that, okay? So Watchtower used to be, the governing body members used to be all connected, but now they've divided it. So what is my point in bringing this up? It's very, very interesting because you can really see how it's not really a religion. It's more a corporation, okay? And what's interesting about this, Anne Marie, when it comes to the blood issue, okay, you notice how Garrett Loesch is extremely careful how he words that discussion he had, you know, on jw.org. He's very, very careful legally. And I think personally, these are just my thoughts and my thoughts only. But I think Watchtower makes all these changes. They will, first of all, never say they're sorry because they're full of pride, but they will never apologize. Okay, they're very haughty and arrogant. But the thing is that they cannot apologize, because if they apologize, then there's going to be floods and floods and floods of lawsuits. So I think when you have this Philip Lofts and Vasilios Pappas and Tobias Browelett making these decisions, also they get involved in lawsuits as well. Okay, they're involved in that as well. When all this starts happening with Watchtower, then of course they're talking to the governing body members saying, hey, you know, we got to make some changes. And of course there's consultants outside of JWs who are telling Watchtower, you need to make some changes. There have been so many lawsuits as it is with child sexual abuse. That's why they're making these changes little by little. But anyway, that's what's going on with Watchtower. And my heart goes out to anybody who has been confronted with this issue of life and death, whether you take a blood transfusion or not. And then now Watchtower's just slapped everybody across the face. And all those families that lost a loved one. John's got another video. I haven't seen it yet, but could Watchtower be sued for this change? So, you know, people, you got to watch XJW Analyzer. It's John Ledger, and he's got some great information. It really helps you to see this organization, because they really don't want people to see how they operate, and it's excellent. Did you want to say something, Rich? Okay.
Just a further thought, if I could. You know, when Loesch was doing his little ditty on the air trying to confuse people, the one thing you have to realize, he never used the word blood transfusion. He just went a roundabout or putting blood back in your body, and because he doesn't want to connect the reversal that he's doing. You guys are experts with the English language. They have tremendous command of the language. You have the lawyers. The lawyers are in there. The psychologists are in there. You know, it's schematics. I don't mean schematics. Well, anyway, I can't think of the word right now. But they're just experts at confusing people and covering up stuff. And semantics is the word that I was looking for. You know, they're really good with changing the names of stuff, or changing the meanings, and making like, oh, this is new light. You know, they're reversing their stuff because they're getting sued, and that's the bottom line.
And you know,
that is
Anne-Marie,
Go ahead.
Yeah. I was going to say, honey, just on top of that thought, I was going to say, you know, it just really shows that they don't really care or even love any of the Jehovah's Witnesses. They really don't. They're in it for the money. They're in it for their own personal growth, for their real estate empire, the risk management, just, you know, to make more money and more money. They can say whatever they want to say. They can say that they're very loving and they have Jehovah's Holy Spirit and blah, 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 blah. But when it comes to their behavior, that's the truth. They don't show any love, because people, wouldn't it be interesting to know how many, I'd love to find the research on how many JWs, including the children, have died because of their policy. And that's all it is. It's a man-made policy on the blood transfusion thing. And they obviously don't care about anybody. All they want is your money. So thank you, Anne-Marie.
Oh, thank you, Constance, and thank you, Dick. And it's such a great point you brought out. Constance, I wanted to clarify about the video that you mentioned for the sake of the archives. Now, is this the name of the video? Who is running the Watchtower? And let me finish my question, please. The name of the video, I want to make sure I get this right, because you know I get confused. It's the name of the video, Who is Running Watchtower? Is that the name?
Yes, that's the name of it. And
is the channel, or the person who posts the video, is the channel X Jehovah's JW Analyzer?
It's EXJW Analyzer.
Okay, that's what I said.
By John Ledger, Leger, and it was just on 3 days ago, and it's on YouTube. Everybody has to watch it. I mean, it pulls back the curtain, like Rick always says, and it will show you the machinery of Watchtower, how they really operate. People think it's just the GB running it. No, you will see. You will really see. And it's only 32 minutes, Emery. It's not very long to watch.
Thank you. How do you spell John's last name, please, again?
Okay, it's L-E like Edward, G like George, E like Edward, R like Robert, Ledger.
Oh, God. Well, I wanted to get it exactly right because, like I said, this is important information, and everybody needs to see it. And I thank you so much for bringing it out, Constance. And I want to get it right.
One other thought, honey, like the previous brother had said, his wife's name is Bethany. She goes by the name Beth Ledger. I think it was Craig in Florida. And her new book is Burning Down the House. It's supposed to be really excellent. So.
Oh, yeah. Dixie brought that out. Oh, this is great.
Yeah, really good. Yeah.
It's coming out. It's like Rick says. He says it over and over and over. And I don't care if people think he sounds like a broken record. You know what? If the house is burning down and it's still burning down, what's wrong with saying, that house is burning down, it's still on fire? Go, guys, look at it. This organization has been in the process of dying from a sickening, cancerous disease that is so foul, and they have known it since at least the early 90s, which is why I believe they came up with the plan of how are we going to protect ourselves. Let's sell off God's organization, the center of God's organization, rake in all the money we can and get us a compound so that when whatever hits the fan, they won't be able to come banging on our door. Because, when they were in Brooklyn, everybody could have gotten there, right? But now they're in the middle of
butt fuck nowhere, sorry, surrounded on 3 sides by forest and 1 side by a lake, and they're out in the middle of nowhere, and they have all these guards and guard houses and all these underground tunnels and storage, and oh, don't tell me they're not looking out for themselves while they're crying to the rank and file how they need money. So I do believe that while they're dying and there is no transfusion that's going to help those people stay alive, I think they are dragging it out and being as meticulously careful in everything they do and say, every expression, every change they make, to keep their poor, pitiful, sick cult going as long as it can, fooling people as long as they can, because there are still so many indoctrinated idiots who do not want to wake up. And they are counting on keeping them asleep, even if they have to say, okay, now you guys can have a beard. Okay, you don't have to wear ties all the time. Okay, sisters, now we let you get rid of the nylons. You don't have to wear nylons. Now you can wear pants if you want. Remember when you had to wear nylons and you couldn't have open-toed sandals with bare legs? When did that happen? When did they go from pure white business shirts to now you can wear colored shirts? And remember when the ties had to be so conservative? Now they're any old kind of way. You know what? It would be laughable, except there are so many that are still out there faithfully trudging along. I had a beautiful group of about 10 Jehovah's Witnesses from Spanish congregation. All of the brothers, clean shaven, nice suits. The sisters were all dressed in those drabby, hanging down to their ankle dresses and skirts, ugly flat shoes. Like, you know, it's heartbreaking. It is heartbreaking. So we have to keep doing what we're doing, what you and Dick do faithfully every week, what Rick does faithfully every week, Rick and Susan. We have to keep speaking out. We have to keep sounding the alarm. We have to keep telling the truth. We have to keep telling what we know, no matter if we're hated or not. We have to keep obeying Ephesians 5:10-14. Expose them for what they are. We have to keep doing it. And I'm glad you chimed in. What did you say? What did Dick say?
He asked if I wanted some apple juice.
I want some. I miss you guys. Oh, and Constance, please, as a side note, I have to say, because it keeps coming up in my head, you and Dick look so freaking handsome at the convention, but you especially, I was like doing double takes and sneaking more looks at you while you were paying attention to the speaker at the convention. You look like a freaking model, girlfriend. You were beautiful. You dressed so beautifully.
Silly girl.
I'm not silly. I'm just blunt. But you very beautiful. Very beautiful.
We love you. Thank you.
Oh, honey, I love you guys too. You guys are too cool. When I listen to your show, I just don't comment, but you guys have a good show. I don't know how you do it every week. I don't know.
We'd love for you to chime in, Anne Marie. That'd be awesome, you know? Yeah.
Shoot, I'll be trying to do that, but
Anne Marie.
Me? Back when have you ever known to me? You are such a good.
You like that one, Anne Marie?
Oh,
Anne Marie, we can use the voice changer if you need it.
No, you have a sense of humor. That's for damn sure. Okay, would anybody else like to chime in? I don't want to cut you guys off.
I wanted to say something to Constance, Porgy, and Dick.
Oh, go ahead. They're listening.
You always have nice clothes on when you are on your show. And you think we don't notice that you're nicely dressed when you're on the show. I really appreciate it. And I feel like you're representing the ex-Jehovah's Witness in a very good way with the way you dress. And last time it was exceptional.
Oh, thank you,
Both
honey.
she had a nice top on, and he had the full package, costume, tie. It was wonderful. But I wanted to mention something that I think about a lot, and that is, Constance, your eyeshadow, it's dark and very modern. I just love your eyeshadow. It looks very, very elegant and smart on you. And I want to say, this dark eyeshadow, keep using it because it looks wonderful. And I'm so proud of you both.
Oh, you're so sweet. Honey, if you only knew what it is, a race to get it all before the show at 6 o'clock. I mean, it's down to the wire to get out of the shower, do the hair, put the makeup on, get dressed, calm down, cool down, and get everything all set up on the computer. It's a lot, let me tell you. And Rich just relaxes, and it's like, oh my gosh, be a woman, have to do everything else, the makeup, the hair, and everything else. So thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
You're so sweet, honey. Thank you, love.
Well, I'm glad Grace said it. Grace, thank you so much for piping up, because you know what? I think about it, and I tune in almost every show for Dick and Constance, and I think it in my head, but I never thought to compliment how nice they look, how nice the area that they're filming looks. And they're very professional, very clear. And, you know, you learn a lot from their show. So, Grace, thank you so much for saying it. And don't be laughing, Constance, because everything she said is the truth.
Well, Anne-Marie, this is Rick. Let me hold on 1 second. Let me just tell people, a lot of people coming in tonight because of the news, but Dick and Constance are on every other Saturday night. They'll be on next Saturday night at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you want to catch Dick and Constance next Saturday night, 6 p.m. right here on the 6 Green Tele Network. Anne-Marie, the fellow wants to speak up. Go ahead.
Hello, Anne-Marie. Rick.
Oh, my God. Is this Kurt?
Hey, Anne-Marie.
Hi, Kurt.
Hello. It's a really good show. I've been listening to it since the beginning tonight. And Dick and Constance, I didn't get a chance last week, but I thought their show was also good, really good last week, and yours is. I wanted to say hello to Pixie and to Grace. I haven't heard Grace in a while. Say hello to you, Anne-Marie. Zachary, I haven't heard Zachary on for a little while. I wanted to comment on real quick on this blood transfusion. 6 screens. A lot of us have been on 6 screens for a long time, and the blood doctrine and policy has been talked about a lot over the last 20 years. I know back a couple of years ago, I was in on a conversation where we thought that maybe the Watchtower there would be some retraction in the Tower policy, and this certainly is what we would call a retraction. I personally believe that before it's all over, the Watchtower will abandon. They will abandon the blood doctrine. It's so divisive. The Mormons have some peculiar doctrines, but this blood transfusion doctrine with the Watchtower, in my opinion, is probably, in the Christian world, it's probably the most shocking and divisive doctrine and policy that's out there. So I look for them to, in steps, they have to go with, that's what they're doing, I think, is going in steps, like a complete retraction of it. But anyway, thanks for taking my call. I'll say hello to everybody, and thank you, Anne-Marie, and it's been such a good program. And I'm going to go back to YouTube, and thank you so much, okay? All right.
Well, thank you so much for calling in, Kurt. And
okay,
bye. I appreciate what you said about, about the craziest doctrine there is the blood doctrine. And, as far as I recall, it was Crazy Freddy, who was also nicknamed the Oracle. He was behind so much of the crazy doctrines that we were taught to believe as the truth, including the 1975 Armageddon prophecy. It was all Crazy Freddy, and we just all had to go along with it. And it's a sad thing.
Anne-Marie,
Yeah.
This is Apostle Dude.
Well, hello, Apostle Dude. How are you?
Real good. For some that don't know, I go back into 1971 when I began learning the Watchtower's program. And one of the things they've done in this blood doctrine is it's just amazing. The article that he cites, all you have to do is read the rest of the article. And so there's the target, and he's counting on lazy witnesses who first of all have been so programmed. It actually is a tremendous act of confidence on their part that everybody's so bludgeoned mentally in the organization that they're not gonna get it. And if they do, their attitude is good riddance. Go away. We don't care what you know about it, because it's easy to see. This is like a whole bucket of ice water on you, like they do to the football coaches at the end of the game. I mean, it's like, wake up. What more do you need? And I want to second one other thing too. I want to second Constance and Dick's recommendation on John Ledger, JW Analyzer. XJW Analyzer. Right. That channel, what people need to understand is you go into it, his bullet points are graphs. He puts graphs in front of you. Everything is very clear. And he step by steps through everything like he's diagnosing a blueprint. And it's very good. Many times he says, once you see it, you can't unsee it. And that's true. His wife, Beth, has a great channel. And one other great presentation on the nature of this announcement is the guy, he's I don't know how long he was in, he's very easy to listen to. He's not crazy at all. And that's a big thing, sometimes people get so bitter. You got to be careful. Anyway, Exiles and Pilgrims. Within the last 3 days, he did about a 10 or 11 minute one. And he cites those key parts of the article that Garrett Loesch referred to, that if you read the whole thing, they clearly say that it is against the Bible to extract and store blood and reintroduce it. They say point blank, it's against God. No ambiguity at all. And John Ledger does it also. There's a little more detail there. And I haven't seen that video they referred to, but I watch almost every one of John Ledger. He's like nailing these people very well. So just some input from a battered old guy out here in the PNW, Pacific Northwest.
All right. Well, thank you for pointing out that video, Exiles and Pilgrims.
That's his
sounds
channel.
Good.
It's another good channel, yeah.
Sounds great. Well, at least we aren't afraid to look at all these videos that give us so much information. And it's so sad that Jehovah's Witnesses are afraid. They're actually afraid to look at the evidence that is right at their fingertips.
And it's anything, the better channels are anything but foaming at the mouth, possessed, apostate. Come on. It's just the facts. It just goes back to like JW facts with Paul Grundy. It's just what he does. He just keeps quoting their magazines, their stuff. And this only goes back to the year 2000. And imagine, this is a breathtaking, just 180 on the blood thing. I mean, even though it's not fully saying go back, you can do any kind of blood transfusion. Why is this corporation a medical advisor of any kind? Crazy Freddy and that type, maybe even Nathan Noor, who knows? I mean, it's nutcases. They're absolutely looking like lunatics.
Yeah, well, Nathan Noor was more of an organizer. He even said that if he hadn't been involved in the Watchtower, he would have been the head of a very powerful corporation, because that was his talent, being an organizer. And he was even quoted as saying that at an assembly, after an assembly, somebody had come up to him and asked him a biblical question. And he said, well, why don't you ask Brother Fred Franz, because he's the spiritual guidance of our organization. He was the organizer. Fred Franz was the one that came up with all the crazy stuff.
Oh yeah, the Freedom of the Sons of God Red Book. I have it.
Oh yeah, hang on to that. Hang on to that. I wish witnesses of today would read that book, because they presented it in 1966 at the district convention, God's Sons of Liberty, and the brother that announced the 1975 Armageddon prophecy held up the book and he said, and in this book, brothers, you will find a full 5-page Bible chronological chart proving that this time we got it right. In the first chapter is where that chronological chart was. And I will never forget, at the end of that talk, all of the brothers and sisters were rushing to the kiosk to get their copy and look up that chronological chart. And there at the very bottom, the autumn of 1975, the end of 6,000 years of mankind's existence, which is when Armageddon was supposed to come. And it was pounded into our heads every opportunity, from the podium, in every magazine, in every book, and at every meeting. Don't forget, brothers. Yep.
Don't you forget. I was in a car group, and my wife and I both remember vividly a circuit overseer saying, and this was early in 76, he goes, some of you brothers are thinking we have gone too far talking about the end of this system of things. And then he goes, whoa. In other words, challenging our authority. It's like, his name was Waddington. He's probably gone by now. But anyway, I got another book. You refer to the older books. I found in 2002 in my mother-in-law's basement a mint condition finished mystery book with the banned pages in it. So that you talk about a nutcase book. Oh my goodness. And this is the time when Jesus was hovering over the earth, looking for who he would choose to be his faithful and discreet slave. You read that book, you go, what the heck are you talking? It is the craziest book ever. I don't know what to tell you. It's just, I got it. I got all the evidence, man. Put me in court. I'm ready.
That's why they wanted to get rid of all the older literature.
I got it. I kept it all.
Well, hang on to it.
Yeah.
Hang on to it.
It's hard copy because now that they've gone through the electronic, they're messing with everything. They made they made Toni Morris disappear like smoke.
Well, I don't think they made Toni Morris disappear. I think he just couldn't take the bullshit anymore and he wanted out. And I think they threatened him, and because it was obvious he was under a lot of trauma and a lot of stress because his drinking became so bad. And you know that they were chastising him and warning him and probably threatening him. And I believe he just got to a point where he blew up and just laid all their shit bare, and they were going to disfellowship him. And he said, you know what, you do anything to me, my reputation, my good name, or anything to destroy my family, I have all the dirt and I will not hesitate to lay all your shit bare. And I think they knew he was serious. They made him sign a non-disclosure agreement. They agreed to buy him a house for himself and his wife, Susan. And he just wanted to just be let out because he was never announced as being an ex-Jehovah's Witness or being removed or disfellowshipped. They announced that brother Anthony Morris is no longer serving on the governing body. And then they said about destroying every trace of him as if he didn't exist. And a lot of people point to his videos. Well, he did this and he said that. Well, hello, he was under a very strict strip and he had to act that way. He had to say what he had to say because he was trying to just keep on conforming and performing until he just couldn't take it anymore. And that's just my stand. We're going to have to end the show. It is a few minutes left. Does anybody have any final comments? We have about 2 minutes left. Anybody want to add to that? Dude or anybody else?
Toward the end of her life, she said to the Bible study lady that was there to talk to me, she says,
I don't recognize any of this anymore. It has so gone so far from what the Bible students and the Bereans had up through Noor, and then with the elders, and like the brother said, you know, someone comes from New York and he's in your car group and you think he has authority. It is unrecognizable from anything of the way it started out.
Yep. There you go. Pixie, thank you so much. Anyone else have a quick comment before we close the show?
Hey, Ann.
Hi, who's this?
This is John.
John, I thought that was you. Miss you. How are you, my brother?
Okay, I was talking to an elder the day before the update came out, and he said, well, you know, apostates are going to somehow lie and twist and turn and make some kind of, because he said they got to put all kind of rumors out. And then after the update, I talked to him. He said, well, we always have said that, you know.
Oh my God.
Store your own blood. But I remember back in the day, in the 80s, I remember an elder gave a talk on blood, and he said it is a disfellowshipping act if you store your own blood and get it put back in you.
I remember that.
And it was no if, guessing, or maybe. No, it was you cannot have anyone's blood or your own blood, you know. And so now they're trying to say they're gaslighting us. But it's funny.
It's sad to see somebody so crazy and so brainwashed, and they actually don't see how crazy and brainwashed they are. It's a sad thing. It's laughable, but it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, because so many people. I know a sister that died in my congregation because she had leukemia, and they was like, no, you cannot have a blood transfusion. You cannot have your own blood. And she was a young sister. She was like in her 20s, and she died, you know.
Oh, that is so, so sad. Well, John, we really need to close the show. I thank you so much for calling in. I want to thank all the callers. I want to thank Junction Guy. I want to thank our dear sister, Susan. I want to thank the sister who went by the name Nice and Dandy. I want to, her husband needed and received 5 units of blood when he was not a JW and saved his life. She says that Jehovah's Witnesses treat her like she's a criminal. That's a shame. I want to thank Grace from Sweden. I want to thank David and Dick and Stephen and Pixie and Mark and Craig from Florida. He brought out that we should all read the new book, Burning Down the House. And Alex from LA, who called in. I want to thank Nicole and Ken from Michigan. We want to thank our sister Constance, who recommended the YouTube video by XJW Analyzer. The name of the video is Who is Running Watchtower? And that's by John Ledger. Want to thank Kurt for calling in. Want to thank Aposta Dude. And he brought out that we should see the YouTube video Exiles and Pilgrims. And finally, we want to thank our dear brother John. And I almost forgot to mention Idley, our dear sister from New York. Miss her so much. We need to close the show now and go to our dear brother Rick and JW World News. Rick?
Well, Anne Marie, I must tell you, we've got a lot of people coming in tonight. I knew that there'd be a lot of people coming in. This is the biggest story I think that I have reported here in 20 years of doing JW World News. Lots of buzz, lots of people sending me articles, lots of people calling me, writing me emails, texting me. I've never seen it like this. So something's going on behind the curtains of the Watchtower. It is big, and we're going to continue our discussion on blood and the changes coming up next on JW World News. Of course, that's the news the Watchtower doesn't want us talking about. But thank you, Anne Marie, and thank you all the callers that called into the program tonight. We got full lines here. We got computer screens here. The 6 screens lighting up like crazy. People calling in from all over the world. So by all means, stay with us. Thank you, Anne Marie. Stay on this channel. We got a great program coming up next. We have a man coming in from England, from the United Kingdom. His name is John Vinney. John Vinney is a former Jehovah's Witness elder. He was involved with the hospital liaison committee in the United Kingdom in serving a big role, and he's going to talk about the changes tonight. We want to hear what John Vinney has to say about the new changes on blood in the Watchtower. Thank you very much for listening in. Stay on this channel, whether it be Facebook, whether it be YouTube, or whether it be on our telephone radio network. Thank you very much. We'll end the stream right here.